Chemistry Basics. This is Lesson 3. The Periodic Table of the Elements. Part 1. This here is an example of what is known as the periodic table of the elements, a table showing all of the known elements. The elements are arranged in a specific way. They are arranged in columns and in rows. Remember, an element is a substance that is made up of only one kind of atom. Like number 20, Ca, which is calcium. Calcium is made up of calcium atoms and only calcium atoms. And number 80, Hg, which is mercury, mercury is made up of mercury atoms and only mercury atoms. So although we call this the periodic table of the elements, you can also look at it like a table of all of the different types of atoms, which it is. Now, if you were to Google the periodic table of the elements, you would find that there are many different types of tables that are set up the same but have different types of information about each element. That's because there is a lot of available information about each element, and since it can't all possibly fit into one table, there are several tables with differing information. For example, this periodic table of the elements, entitled the Periodic Chart of Ions, this chart shows the ions that elements tend to form. And this table contains some different information, such as the electron configuration for each element, like boron. This table is also color-coded. And here is another table, also with different information, like the boiling point for each element, such as aluminum, and it is also color-coded. We will be looking at the color coding of the periodic table in our next video. The important thing to note at this point is that not all periodic tables are exactly the same. They all have the same elements and configuration, but they contain different types of information about each element. Now, this is a common or typical periodic table with basic information about each element. You will find this basic information included in most periodic tables. For this lesson, we will be focusing on the information given in the key above. We will be looking at the atomic number, the element symbol, the element name, and the average atomic mass. So let's look at element number 12, magnesium. We are looking at one box or element or one kind of atom from the periodic table. This is the element magnesium. Starting at the top, the number 12 is the element's atomic number. 12 is the atomic number for magnesium. That is the number of protons in the nucleus of every magnesium atom. Below the atomic number is the symbol for that element. In this case, Mg is the symbol for magnesium, and only magnesium. These symbols are used in writing chemical equations and formulas. Below the element symbol is the name of that element, in this case, magnesium. Below the element name is the average atomic mass. This is the average mass of one atom of that element, measured in atomic mass units, abbreviated AMU. Let's go over each one of these: the atomic number, element symbol, element name, and average atomic mass. Remember, the atomic number of an element is the number of protons in the nucleus of that atom. This number is important because the number of protons in the nucleus is what determines what element an atom is. In this case, tungsten. Tungsten has 74 protons. All tungsten atoms have 74 protons, and every atom with 74 protons is therefore a tungsten atom. 74 protons in its nucleus is what makes a tungsten atom a tungsten atom. Let's now go on to the element symbol. The element symbol is important because that is what is used in writing chemical formulas and chemical equations. So, what is a chemical formula? Well, a chemical formula, well, it's kind of like a recipe. It tells us what ingredients and how much of each ingredient goes into making a certain substance or compound. For example, the chemical formula H2O, that is the chemical formula or recipe for water. 2 hydrogen atoms for every oxygen atom. Next, under the element symbol is the element name. This is simply the name of the element. These names are also used in naming many compounds. For example, the combining of the elements sodium and chlorine to make sodium chloride, which we commonly refer to as table salt. Under the element name is the average atomic mass. There is atomic mass and average atomic mass. It is important to understand the difference between the two. The atomic mass of an atom is calculated by simply adding up the number of protons and neutrons that make up the atom. 8 protons plus 8 neutrons give us 16 atomic mass units. An atom that has 8 protons and 8 neutrons, thus having an atomic mass of 16 AMUs, what element would that be? That element would be oxygen. The average atomic mass is the average mass of one atom based upon the mass of a sample of atoms. Now, if you notice, by looking at the periodic table, the average atomic mass of most elements are not whole numbers. For example, if we take a look at carbon, the average atomic mass of carbon is 12.01 AMUs, or atomic mass units. We know carbon has 6 protons because that is the atomic number for carbon. Does that mean carbon has 6.01 neutrons? After all, the atomic mass of an atom is calculated by adding up the protons and neutrons. 6 protons plus how many neutrons equal 12.01 AMUs? 6.01 neutrons, right? That is correct. But no single atom actually has 6.01 neutrons, nor does any atom have just a part of a neutron. So, how do we get 12.01 atomic mass units, or AMUs, as the average atomic mass of carbon? To answer that question, let's take a look at the element carbon. If we were to take a random sample of carbon, we would find 3 types of carbon atoms: carbon-12, carbon-13, and carbon-14. We know each type of carbon atom has 6 protons because that is what makes carbon carbon. Since carbon-12 has an atomic mass of 12 AMUs, how many neutrons must it have? 6. And since carbon-13 has an atomic mass of 13 AMUs, how many neutrons must it have? 7. And since carbon-14 has an atomic mass of 14 AMUs, how many neutrons must it have? That's correct, 8. These are all known as isotopes. Atoms of the same element with different number of neutrons, therefore different atomic masses. Now, to calculate the average atomic mass of carbon, we calculate the average atomic mass from the 3 types of carbon. But since they don't naturally exist in equal amounts, we calculate the average based on the abundance of each type of carbon atom. In this case, carbon-12 makes up 98.9% of all carbon. So it should account for 98.9% of the average. Carbon-13 makes up 1% of all carbon, so it should account for 1% of the average. Carbon-14 makes up only 0.1% of all carbon, so it should account for only 0.1% of the average. We then take the atomic mass of each type of carbon atom and multiply it by the abundance of that type of carbon atom, which gives us the contribution of each type of carbon atom to the overall average atomic mass, which comes out to be 12.012 AMUs, rounded to 12.01 AMUs, which is the atomic mass for the element carbon. It's quiz time. Now is a good time to see what you have learned from Lesson 3. So, grab a periodic table of the elements and take out a sheet of paper and answer the following 10 questions, followed by a bonus question. Pause the video as needed. Okay, so let's go over the answers and see how you did. Question number 1. What is the atomic number for silver? The answer, 47. Question number 2. What is the element symbol for lead? The answer is Pb. Question number 3. What is the element name for the symbol Ba? The answer is barium. Question number 4. What is the average atomic mass for N? The answer is 14.01 AMUs. Question number 5. What is the atomic mass of an atom that has 16 protons and 16 neutrons? The answer is 32 atomic mass units. Question number 6. What is the average atomic mass of neon? The answer is 20.18 AMUs. Question number 7. What element has the atomic mass of 39.10 AMUs? The answer is potassium. Question number 8. What is the symbol for the element with 36 protons? The answer is Kr. Question number 9. What element has 29 protons? The answer is copper. And question 10. What is the element symbol for gold? The answer is Au. And now for the bonus question. I have 5 more protons than the element with an average atomic mass of 102.91 AMUs. What element am I, and what is my average atomic mass? I am 10, and my average atomic mass is 118.71 AMU. And that wraps up the periodic table of the elements, part 1. Thank you for watching Chemistry Basics.